So I love having to come in from the garage area and discovering a garden back here. And it's always a fun thing to have. So right off the bat, I love Casper beans. They grow in one season, they get really, really tall. This one's probably about 12 feet tall. It's great. Some gingers, a few elephant ears, but the gingers I brought from Florida maybe 8 or 9 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. And I have some clumping bamboo over here, some more elephant ears. Kind of mix the tropicals in with the annuals. This is a grapefruit plant right here that I've had for probably 15 years at this point. It doesn't have any grapefruit on it this year. We had a bad drought in New York and it was a little hard. Over here, I have a Ponderosa lemon. Probably about 15 years I've had this too. It's been basically the same pot. It probably would get much bigger if I would move it, but I haven't. And it does really well. It fruits every year. They get really, really gigantic lemons. You can kind of see this is not even that big. I think the drought did it in, even though I watered constantly. This is my pygmy palm. I'm not good with the scientific names. I need to get better at that, but it is probably, the top leaf there is probably about 8 feet tall. I was really scared overwintering this. It's overwintered 1 year. It did just great. There was no damage at all on it. I have it in a box method with Christmas lights. It did fantastic. I love how it looks. I love how it looks in the garden because it's a nice big plant. I got it through Connecticut Palms last year, and I love it, and it's grown a lot this year, and it flowers, so I think it's definitely a male that seems to be pollinating. So this is one of my sago palms. I've had it for quite a few years. It's starting to get a trunk on it, which I really like. I don't overwinter those outside. I know you can. It's just so easy to bring inside. They're easy to dig up and bring inside. Over here, this is one of my Washingtonias robustas. See, I got the scientific name in there. It is growing really well. It's not growing as fast as the one down by the pool, but it's doing really well. Its top is probably about 10 feet tall. It overwintered great. In the background, you'll see some Lucifascius, the party banana plants. Last year they were up above this window, I think, up there. This year, because of the drought, they didn't grow quite as much. I have some oleander back in here as well. But this is doing really well. It's got a nice trunk on it. And moving on, bananas up there. Over here, this is one of my waggy palms. It's in the Trachycarpus family. I've had this one with mail order. I think it's overwintered outside 2 years. The first year I overwintered it, I did cover it, but I had a spear pool and I followed all the directions with putting hydrogen peroxide in it and did the spear pool on it. And it came completely out, but as you will see, it's growing really well. It's a good 5 feet right now. I really, really like this palm. More party bananas in the background. Here is one of my Windmill Palms. This one came from Georgia. My parents brought it up. It actually was in a pot for about 4 years. I kept it inside. I think the windmills, if they have light in the winter, do really well. I didn't have any problems with spider mites, which I do with other plants. But this one did really well. When I put it in the ground, it did nothing the first year. And this year, it just took off. I can't believe how big it got this year. It's pushing 8 feet now with the leaves, maybe not with the trunk. The trunk is probably at about 5 feet, but it's doing really well. I have another one I'll show you when we come back around. Some of my trumpet plants, I bring these in. I know you can overwinter them, but I do bring them in. This is one of my hardy pomegranates, and it has grown about 4 feet this year. It used to be taller than the Windmill Palm, and I'll show you for my first year, going around over here, some orange, I think that's a lemon. I'll show you through the leaves here. I have one pomegranate. So I'm very, very excited that I actually have one. First time, I've had this plant for about maybe 3 years. I just wrap it in frost cloth and put a tarp over it. That's all I do. But this year it flowered for the first time and I got fruit for the first time. So this one's about 3 years old. It came mail order from, or online, from fastgrowingtrees.com. It is just taken off. It is huge. I got another one that I planted in a bad location and it is growing, but I'm going to move it this fall. I'll show you that one in just a minute. And while I'm over in this area, this is my koi pond. I really enjoy it. Lots of koi. I actually bring koi in during the winter time. I'm in New York. It's zone 6. They can absolutely, they lived out here the first year. I just felt bad for them and I built a holding tank in the garage, and that way I get to see them all winter long and enjoy them all winter long. While I'm over here, a red banana over there that's not doing too well because of the drought. Here's another windmill that was really, really small. It has grown this year, and this is one of my canary date palms. And I had this thing in a pot for probably 10 years and finally got brave about 2 years ago and put it outside, and it's starting to take off too. So this is overwintered just fine with a box and Christmas lights. I think it's doing really, really well. And I know it will get nice and big. This other windmill was also in a pot. It is growing like crazy. I just can't even believe how big it is. I think it's kind of a hybrid. I don't know because my parents got it from Georgia. So it's kind of an unknown variety. This is more of the koi pond here. Okay, so we're gonna go further into the garden now. More windmills. My dog Evita up there, she's coming down. Papyrus, this actually overwintered. Out here I covered it up. I wouldn't say it did great, but it survived. And over here in the shadows of my pygmy palm, you'll see the other hardy pomegranate that's over there that I got. I just need to move it. It's in a bad location. So. And here we will go down the steps to the pool. That's the Hudson River in the background there. I have more castor beans down here. Some more clumping bamboo. More clumping bamboo. Here's the hardy orange tree. I can never remember the name of it. Some people call it the dragon orange, or I'm gonna have to post that on there. I can never remember the name. These have never produced any fruit. I've had them about 2 and 3 years. They started to grow. This one's really starting to grow. They have great thorns, but I will show you down here in a minute. I've got one that I got last year that actually has fruit. So this is a new addition. Some more bananas here. This is a Chinese fan palm. I'm gonna overwinter it for the first time this year. It's doing really well this summer. Some more elephant ears. I do have a papaya back there that has produced fruit in the past. This year, I think with the drought, it's just, I bring it inside. It's in a pot out there, and that's non-clumping bamboo back there. Yeah, I know. It's crazy, but I love bamboo. So going down through here, you will see my hardy oranges, which I'm really excited about. I've always wanted these, always wanted them to produce fruit. This one did really well. When it was blooming in the spring, I had thought I might actually get some fruit on it, so they look great, I think. And I'm gonna try to take some of the seeds when these are ready. I'm just not really sure when. So I have red bananas. I've been very successful with these. I just bring them inside and they come back. I had 2 squirrels eat through 2 of them and ruin them this year, and I think because of the drought. Mixed in here are some of my hardy bananas. I just kind of mix them all up, and I cover these, and they stay out here year round. And you will see there's a baby windmill in there I planted. And back over here, you'll see another one of my Washingtonias that is doing really well. This came from fast growing trees. I've had it in the ground. It's gone through one winter already, so this will be its second winter this year. And then going down to the pool. And I'm hoping, even though I'm in 6A, I always hope that the Hudson River keeps me a little bit warmer. You just never know. So, as you will see in here, castor beans, elephant ears, but this is my new addition here. Of course, you always want what you don't have. And this is my Florida palm, the cabbage palm. So I had a really hard time locating one. I wanted one that was a regenerated cut, and Connecticut palms, CT palms, actually found one and it was too big to move, so they got me a hurricane cut one. So this one's very iffy if it's going to survive. I propped it up this year. I've only had it since May. For the longest time, up until July, I could actually come up here, and even with the props, I could move it. Now it seems to be stuck in the ground, so I'm hoping that roots have gone on. It has really not grown at all, maybe just a little bit, but it's still green. So with sables, you just don't know. So I'm hoping it makes it through the winter. I'm hoping it will have growth. It's in a great spot that I would love by the pool. We will see. CT Palms thinks they found me one that is regenerated and not hurricane cut. Hurricane cut is when they cut everything off, because they removed these from the wild because there's so many of them and they grow so slowly. So this could be a 40-year-old palm. Who knows? We just don't really know. But anyway, I've always wanted one. Now I have one. So we will see. There's some more red bananas. And then over here is my cactus garden. So I'll kind of go up on the steps. So this is a combination of hardy cactus and non-hardy cactus and agaves and yuccas. Okay, so it's just kind of a mix. The hardy cactus has just taken off and it blooms like crazy. I have some hardy agaves in here too. That one is not. I bring that one in. This big Americana, I bring that one in, and it's just getting huge. And then it just keeps having pups, so I keep moving them around. I'll try to find one of the hardy versions in here, but I really, really love my cactus garden. And you can see it's doing really well. And there's another windmill back there. But loving it. Madagascar palm in there. I'm gonna step back in here and try to find one of the hardy agaves. Oh, there's one right there, hiding in the back. So this one back here has been in the ground, I think 2-3 years, maybe 3 years. There's some of its pups behind there. It's hard for me to see because of the sunlight right now. And then I have a blue tequila agave back there. That one comes in. So the hardest thing in here is weeding, because all these varieties they have so many needles on them, and I basically put on latex gloves that are pretty sturdy, and that they don't seem to penetrate that. I worry less about these gigantic needles and more about the little baby needles. Those are what get in you, and you have to basically get tweezers and pull them out. But yeah, this is expanding so much and I need to weed in there so badly. I actually want to find another new space for all my cactus, but I'm really, really enjoying them. Then, I love, love, love this plant. It's a monkey puzzle. I've wanted one for forever. I had some unsuccessful first attempt with one up by the koi pond, but this one is in its second year. It did really well over the winter. On really, really cold nights, I would cover it with Christmas lights and just put a tarp over it, but it did really well all winter long, so I'm pretty happy with that. So it did great. But but it's growing. It grew probably, I don't know, maybe 6 inches this year. Supposedly they get really big in Chile. I don't know what they're gonna do here, but the fact that it's surviving in zone 6A makes me very happy. Some more Musabastu, if I'm saying that right. And then this here, and I can't really see because of the sun on my screen, but this is a Mule Palm. So I got this on Etsy. It's grown a lot. This will be its first year out here in the winter, so I'm going to cover it up, but I'm very excited about it. We will see how it does. And over here is my other date palm. So this is the Sylvester palm. I think that's how you say it. And or Sylvester date. It's doing really, really well. It's going into its 3rd winter back here. It's done great. No problems at all. It seems to go through the winter just fine. So I'm very happy with that. Some more bananas. And over here is my big, gigantic Washingtonia robusta. It's doing really, really well. It just got huge this year. It's probably getting up to 10 feet on that top part there. But it does really well by the pool. I cover it. It got through the winter just fine. Sometimes some of the fronds get a little messed up, but I think I only cut maybe 1 or 2 off this year, which is pretty good coming through the winter, so I was happy with that. I just love that palm. But I will show you, I have one that did not do well through the winter, and it just looked kind of sad when I opened it up, and it still looks sad, and that's this one right here. And for some reason, that's one of the leaves used to be, or the fronds used to be that big. So they were really nice last year. This was its first year in the covered up, but now everything coming out is kind of stunted. But the newer ones are a little bit better. They're just not very big. And part of me wants to cut it out, and then part of me thinks, well, it's really interesting. So I'm gonna keep it for now. For now, we'll see how it does through the winter. Just to give you perspective, this is a crazy hill up to the house going down to the pool. So I want to put some more palms up here and all kinds of stuff. It was really pretty in June and July before the drought hit, and now it's just a little sad looking because it's September. I think it's the 24th or the 25th. So just more hill here. And then my clumping, this is not clumping bamboo. This is the real thing, the real bamboo. I think it's really beautiful. It is spreading a little too much. I have to keep it in control, but that's the least of my worries on bamboo right here, because at least it's kind of reined in, but I'll show you in a little bit what I'm dealing with. This is a bottle palm. I bring it inside. I think I've got like 3 new fronds this year, which is really good for it. So I'm happy with that. And then, as you can see, one of my big windmills, I have winds blowing. They are about, I would say the trunk is probably 8 feet tall, but with everything else, they're well over 10 feet. These came from Long Island palms. They delivered them up here. Kevin did a great job. I love these things. I cover them in the winter. They do really, really well. They're really beautiful. I love them. And then I'm just gonna go along through here. This is one of my Yucca rostratas. You can see the height from my dog, Evita. This I do nothing with. I don't cover it at all. I don't do anything. It does really well here in zone 6A. This is also from Long Island Palms. I think I've had this 4 years, maybe 5 years at this point. Really, really happy with it. One of my little palms down there, and a baby pineapple. I think the drought this year, of course, fit it in as well, but loving this Yucca rostrata. I think it's really beautiful. More bananas, another windmill. I have one of my date palms. This is from edible dates, so it's I grew this from actually eating the dates and keeping. I'll show you. I have many more of them up there, and some of my figs. These actually died to the ground because I did not cover them, but I'm actually think I might get some figs this year. I should have covered them down there around the flagpole too. I have a lot of figs, and I did not cover them last year, and I'm paying for it this year because it just took a while for them to take off. Here's another Yucca rostrata. This one I've only had about 2 or 3 years. It's almost as tall as the other one. It's just not as full as the other one. Another Washingtonia. So I grew this one from seed. It is about 1.5 years old. I can't believe how fast it has grown. And I'm gonna have to cut, this is its first year in the ground. And then this was my very first Windmill Palm. It's doing really well. So I think all 3 of these are male down here. All 3. One of the ones up there is female, and I've gotten seeds from it, and I'll show you all the babies that I have. And this is my jelly palm. So it is new. I'm a little concerned about the yellow on the top, but it is growing, and it has grown this summer. So it's growing. I'm gonna overwinter it. We're hoping for the best. We will see. But I don't love the yellow, but if maybe that's just the trait of that one. But it's got a nice trunk on it. I'm really excited to have this. So we will see. Here's another one of my Washingtonias that I grew from seed right there. One of my olives, which I need to point out. That's an olive tree. I've had that. It's a baby that I got a while ago, and I'm thinking about putting them in the ground at some point. This is my pool house here. Just gonna do a little scan down here of the pool and the river and the palm trees. All right, I'm gonna go back up to the garden because I left some things out up there. I always get a workout going through this garden because everything's on a hill. I love how it gets all tropical, because I just almost fell there. So one thing you'll see is I've got some olives on here. So I've got little baby olives growing, and hopefully I can pick these and cure them. I did some last year, it was fun. Coming through here, pomegranate again. So many things I want to do. These are some staghorn ferns that one of my friends gave me. I'm trying to bring them back to life. I read to plant them in dirt to bring them back to life. It looks like I'm getting a little bit of growth right there, so that's a good thing. Not so sure about this one. This one may be gone, but they were not in great shape to begin with. Here's another papyrus. I actually brought this one inside last year and put in my koi holding tank, and it did really well, which is what I might do again this year. Another papaya. I'm gonna bring in. There's another windmill. This one's really growing fast. And over here, the butterfly bush is gigantic. I have some of my bougainvillea, and some of these are quite old, but they just don't do that well in the pots in the summertime. They actually bloom really well in the garage in the wintertime, but nobody gets to see them. So there's a person in Canada, I think his name on YouTube is Dragon, but he overwinters them outside, covers them up, and he has beautiful bougainvillea. So I'm gonna try that next year. It's too late this year, but I'm gonna try planting this for real and putting it in the ground and see what happens. Down there is my vineyard. It did not do well this year, although I got grapes last year and made wine. This year, the drought just did us in. And then I wanna show you over here, big, gigantic bamboo that's really taking over. It's a hillside there, just a few plants, and then 6 years later you have gigantic bamboo, which I really, really love, but I have to keep it in check, and it's a little out of check right now. Over here, I acquired this yucca from someone, I can't even, from a house that no longer wanted it. It's in pots in the ground. I'm gonna take it out this year. I might overwinter next year out here because it is 12 feet tall. As you can see, it's going up to the second story. So that is something I need to deal with. And then over here I have a Mediterranean palm. Very excited about this. This is going to be its first year to stay outside. They grow really slow, but I really like them. I'll just take you through some of the bamboo forest over here. Bamboo, it's beautiful, but it's so invasive. But look at the colors on this. It's just one of my favorite things. And then I have black bamboo. So this came somehow in a mail order from a company I don't love, but it wasn't supposed to survive in 6A, and I guess the rest of the bamboo is protecting it because I have, like, it's growing. I just wish it would spread, and I wish I had it somewhere where you could really see it better, but I love it. It's really, really beautiful. Coming down here, I just want to show you. So oddly, I have a caboose on my property. The former owners ran a bed and breakfast out of this, and I am renovating it right now to possibly turn it into a bed and breakfast because it has really nice views of the Hudson Valley. So over here, I just want to show you some more bamboo. So this was a hill that was just ugly, and so I planted bamboo on it, and now I have a bamboo forest. And my goal is to build a path through this lovely bamboo forest over here. So go back up. I don't know what the numbers mean. Came with the house, with the train. When the train is renovated, I'll do a little tour on that because it had a water leak. And so my deck up here. We're gonna go up there and look at some of the baby plants I have. A big mess down here. This is kind of my oasis, and I'm on vacation all the time. And we have views like this and plants like this. So up on my deck, you'll see a lot of my baby plants. So I have a lot of Washingtonias. I have a lot of plumerias. So I did these from cuttings from one of my bigger plumerias. And they're growing. I have a lot of baby windmill palms from the seeds from my windmills, from the female that's up here, from last year. They're all growing. Some windmills and some baby dates. Some more windmills and baby dates. This is, of course, I think it's a royal palm. A Cuban royal palm. I'm gonna have to look that up. I always forget. It's surviving, it's doing okay. And it's growing. And then I have a lot more James palms. Gave me some Washingtonia seeds, and they have all, I think every single one of them sprouted. I had some Guccia odorata growing there. I have a lot of baby windmills, as you can see in here. A lot of them. And there's a Bismarcky. I got it mail order. It did really well, and then everyone told me it died, and now it is growing. So I'm really happy about that. This is one of my date palms that I got from Edible Dates. They're pretty easy to get to sprout, and it's really starting to grow now. And some more of my plumerias and some cactus. And this is my view. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have any questions, let me know.